Hey YouTube, it's Derek again, back with DJ Classic Games. And I just come back to y'all today to give you a short video of this Nintendo Switch OLED, which I did a video a little bit over a week ago, and I told you I just had got it after a year of its being released. And after messing around with it about a week or so, I do not regret that I picked this up. I'll tell you why. I had the original model Switch from 2017, as I said in my other video, the screen was not as high quality as this. This, you have that OLED display with the deep blacks, which makes the color pop very rich. And I had them side by side recently the other day, and it just doesn't equate when it comes to quality with this new Switch compared to the OG Switch, the first one. Now, I will say I have not seen any difference in the battery life. I have not seen any difference in the battery life. Some games that lagged on the original Switch will tend to lag a little bit on this. I'm hoping Nintendo can fix this with an update later on. I don't know if that's more hardware or software related. But I do not regret upgrading from the older Switch because it's 5 years old. Even though they have basically the same internals, the screen is updated. So if it's more graphically intense games coming out in the future, I'm assuming that this would play it and you would enjoy it more on this because of the screen. The display is very high quality, even though both of them are actually 720p. So I have enjoyed this Switch so far. I've enjoyed more storage space internally, 64 gigs of storage versus 32 gigs of storage in the OG Switch. I do like that. Now, another thing that I very much like better than the OG Switch, let's move that, is the rinky-dink kickstand it had. This one, you have a metal kickstand. I know it's metal. I put a magnet on it, stuck to it. It's some kind of anodized aluminum. Excuse me. You can hear there's much heavier stand. It's wide. You get good viewing angles. The other Switch, you had this thin kickstand that basically no bigger than my finger. When you sit it down, there's a good chance you could tip it over. You don't have to worry about that with this. You have different degrees. You can sit it down, prop it up, however you want to do it. I like this Switch better also because of the Joy-Cons. They tend to fit a little bit tighter to me. Now, there's still some wiggle room in here. I'm not just saying it's solid all the way around. But the OG Switch, if you remember, those of you who had the old Switch, when you stick a Joy-Con in, it did not feel as tight as this OLED model will feel. It had a whole bunch of wiggle room, which made me feel very, I guess you could say, insecure about the solidness of it, so to speak. After handling it for a long while, it didn't feel solid. It felt cheaply made. This one is just a little bit tighter. Now, I'm not going to say that it's not wiggling any. Hopefully, Nintendo addresses this in the future. But I will say it does feel more solid than the OG Switch. That I will say. And I also mention that this top here, when you use old accessories from the OG Switch on this OLED model, they tend not to fit because you have a couple of extra centimeters of width on this new one versus the 6.2-inch screen on the OG Switch. So you will have to upgrade certain cases, not the carry cases. Basically, those will fit any Switch. But the silicone cases, those grip cases, a lot of them have to be upgraded because of the extra width you have on this Switch. Now, the Joy-Cons are exactly the same. Absolutely nothing different about these Joy-Cons versus the old Joy-Cons. You can pop the old ones on here anytime. It's the same thing. But like I said, one thing I did enjoy was more internal space. You didn't run out of internal memory as quick as you did on the older screen. On the older Nintendo Switch, excuse me. But I will say you can always throw an SD card in here. I have a 256 gig version in here, so I'm good anyway. I don't play many games. I have cartridges, and so I don't tend to use up all of my internal space. But I will say I do not regret 1 second for picking this up and getting rid of the old Switch because this display is night and day. Like I said, the screen is It's all black. And you can tell the difference of the quality when you first turn it on versus the old one. Anybody who had the old Nintendo Switch, you remember the gray color that the screen had when it was off. It looked cheap. The colors don't pop as much. If you set these side by side, you can tell that there's richer colors on this new display. Some people gonna disagree, but of course I don't. You'll find more people on YouTube that agree with what I just said than not. This OLED screen is a much better viewing experience, not playing experience, viewing experience than the older Switch models. The color tends to pop more. So I do not regret one moment for picking this up. Like I said, most accessories will work, but the grip cases, more than likely, you will have to change. Then the Switch dock, the everything else is the same. The dock has changed just a little bit. Has shiny plastic in the inside, which is no problem with me, but I've heard people complain about it, but I don't care as long as it functions. And I notice it's a little bit different this time. I think you're going to be able to get updates with this dock as well, because if you go in the system settings in the Nintendo Switch, let's go what it says, update dock, you have this option now. Whereas I didn't see it on the old console where it says update the dock. You had controllers update, but I never saw it where it said you can update the dock. So I'm assuming it's some software availability and updates that you're going to be able to use in the future with this OLED model that didn't present itself on the older Nintendo Switch. So I'm wondering what that's going to be about. I don't know. But like I said, I have no complaints as far as this Switch. I don't regret getting rid of the old one. The screen is much better. I'll give you a little sample, just a little something you can look at right quick. Let's see. Let's tap on one of these. Let's give a little color. See the color in that screen. Deep blacks. Like I said, it's deep blacks. The color pops even more. I definitely like that. I love the graphics. Just look at that deep color around those. That's amazing to me. Not saying the other Switch didn't have good graphics, but this black screen just makes it pop more. Okay, that's just a sample of that. Let's take a look at a couple of little games that I have here. One of my favorites, MotoGP. Let's take a quick look. Very rich colors. This is one of my favorite games, Moto GP19.
Good evening. We are broadcasting live from Qatar. The long weekend leading up to the Grand Prix at the Losail circuit is about to begin. The tension is palpable. Mechanics and engineers are at work to sort out the final technical details.
Just giving you a little example of the graphics on this OLED model of the Nintendo Switch. Not focus much on gameplay right now. I do that in another video. Just want to show you the graphics. Realistic look of the colors, how they pop.
There is movement in the pit. The mechanics are preparing the bike and the rider seems very focused. We'll see if he can improve his time.
All right, that's enough of that. I just want to give y'all an example of how that game looks on this OLED screen. It's crazy to me. Again, this is Derek from DJ Classic Games. Just came to give you a short video about my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch OLED model. Check back again, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.